Well, my video about the German brigade coming to Lithuania has attracted a lot of attention, including from some German soldiers and their family members. So it seems like the perfect time to make a video about a few notable differences between life in Germany and life in Lithuania. So off we go. Well, considering I've only spent about 2 months worth of time in Germany spread out across several years, I will admit that I'm not a great resource. Although I must admit that these two social media stars have entertained and educated me quite a lot with the topic of German culture from an influencer perspective.
Do you want to marry me? For tax reduction purpose? Okay, let's do it.
But to help me for today's video, I have two other fantastic people, Djamila and Asta. One of them's German and one of them's Lithuanian, but they've both spent a good deal of time in Lithuania and Germany, and so I trust they know what they're talking about. I'll share more about them at the end of this video.
Deutsche Bahn versus Lietuvos geležinkeliai. I have never experienced a train being late or cancelled in Lithuania. In Germany, on the other hand, this is daily business. There's always something wrong on German railways, and traveling by train without problems is just a long-lost dream. Well, maybe I was just always lucky in Lithuania and always unlucky in Germany, but let's be honest. Deutsche Bahn has a bad reputation all across Europe for being unpunctual or cancelling trains all the time.
The main means of transport between and within cities are not trains, but buses and cars. Big cars. Bicycles are just a leisure activity and are usually taken out when it's warm outside.
In Lithuania, shops are open late and on Sundays, something that just can't be in Germany. You want to do your weekly grocery shopping on a Sunday in Lithuania? No problem. You want to do grocery shopping after 10 p.m? No problem. In Germany, this is only possible in so-called Spätis, late-night shops where the prices are quite high.
Bakeries, Bäckerei. Unfortunately, you don't find them. Unless you live in a big city and in the center, then you will find some of them. You can buy bread in regular shops. Brötchen, buns, you don't find them. We don't eat them at breakfast. They are sweet goods for us. But I do have a tip. In Lithuania there is Lidl. There you will find a piece of home. One more thing. Don't get into discussion about where bread tastes best. In Lithuania, of course. The bread tastes sweet and must contain plenty of cumin seeds.
The cost of living in Lithuania. Germans earn more than Lithuanians on average. And yet, I find that everyday products in Lithuania aren't relatively cheap when you compare it to Germany. What's different to Germany, though, is that products on markets are cheaper than products in supermarkets, which is kind of the other way around in Germany. Talking about the quality of the produce, I have to say that Lithuania is the clear winner, especially when it comes to fresh vegetables.
Don't take a random taxi on the street, because this can get quite expensive. Just have a smartphone at hand. You know, Lithuania is a digitalist country, so download apps such as Bolt or Uber and use it.
The internet is so much better in Lithuania, and mobile flats are cheap too. Unlimited internet costs 12 euros with P-League, unbeatable. And the internet speed is a dream come true compared to Germany. Also, on most buses and trains, if not all, you can also have free Wi-Fi, which is not possible in Germany. Most of the times you will have to pay for it, or it will be available, but not really working. Greeting strangers on the street. In Germany, it's normal to greet each other, especially in smaller areas like forests, small paths, and so on.
Hello, 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 hello.
When I did this in Lithuania, my friend said, what are you doing? They were almost embarrassed that I greeted strangers, when for me it was common courtesy.
And rightly so. If we don't know people, we don't greet them. Guys, wear swimwear when you go into the sauna in Lithuania. We can only be naked among very familiar people, but not amongst strangers.
Hard on the outside, soft on the inside. Some nations are coconuts, others are peaches. Maybe you have already heard about this culture theory. While in the UK, hey, how are you is another way of saying hello. A Lithuanian would never ask kaip sekasi and then just move on. If they ask you, they're really interested and want to know and care. It's not the easiest task to win over a Lithuanian, but once you do, you will be friends for life. Of course, everyone's different and it's difficult and problematic to label an entire culture as peaches or coconuts. And to be honest, we the Germans are labeled as coconuts as well. So at least in that regard, we should not have any problems matching up with Lithuanian. Personally, as a German, I only have amazing things to say about Lithuania and Lithuanians. Their hospitality is very heartwarming, and I think that it's one of the best countries to emigrate to. So congrats if you're living in Lithuania, you won the immigration lottery.
Well, after hearing what they've had to say, I'm slightly surprised. I thought Germans would be just as opposed to greeting strangers passing by in public spaces. I also had no idea about the bakery thing. I was well aware of the supermarket opening time differences from my own personal experiences, and I learned about the unpredictability of the Deutsche Bahn from those other influencers making jokes about it. But yeah, all in all, I'm grateful that Djamila and Asta were willing to take part for this video. Djamila is the personality behind the Instagram and YouTube account Žodžiu Mišrainė. She shares her life and adventures all in the Lithuanian language. She's still learning, but years ahead of where I'm at. And then there's Asta of Litauen to go. Asta is a Lithuanian who knows the best of both worlds, the cheerful Lithuanian one and the orderly German one, because she lives in Germany. She teaches Lithuanian to German-speaking adults and tells the German community about her home country. Her project, Litauen to go, is the door opener to the Lithuanian world and is not only an interesting and informative channel on social media, but it's also a podcast and a monthly newsletter with the latest news from Lithuania. And so, whether you're a German or Lithuanian, I think you'll find the content of both Djamila and Asta very interesting, and so I do encourage you to check out their pages. I will leave all the links to everything down in the video description. And so what about you? If you've experienced both Germany and Lithuania, would you have other things to add to this list? And is there anything about the video that you would disagree with? Let us know by leaving a comment. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.